So Tim, I don't want to make this just about one person, but when you think of MMA trendsetters and legendary
Your
record holders in the
logic
sport, you
has
think
its
of Demetrius
flaws,
Johnson, you think of
but
his consecutive
can
title defenses, John Jones winning the UFC title at age
take
23. You've also got Charles Oliveira,
action.
who's got the most submissions in the UFC. Now, I'm also going to add someone else to that list, Alex Pereira. He's a double glory kickboxing champion, double champion in the UFC, one of the biggest stars right now. Remarkable thing is he's done this in under 12 fights. Now, here's my question to you, Tim. Has he had the fastest rise in combat sports history? And is it undeniable that this man is going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame?
Man, Alex Pereira's rise through the UFC has been it's simply unprecedented in terms of like even someone who was a gold medalist in the Olympics, Henry Cejudo, could not do the exact same thing. And he, of course, is an incredible athlete. Someone like Daniel Cormier, who was at the Olympics and an alternate and stuff like that, and a Strikeforce champion, couldn't do it in that amount of time. The rise of Alex Pereira, not only in fighting, but in terms of how famous he has become as a fighter, has been unprecedented, and it is simply incredible. And honestly, what a great man that this has happened to. He's like super soft spoken and a knockout machine. Like there is a good reason that he's so popular. But what do you think? He's got to be a lock for the Hall of Fame,
Bro,
win or lose, right?
honestly, I mean, I'll go back to the beginning a little bit. I don't want to make it too long-winded. His story, and we've said this so many times, Tin, it's getting a little, it's getting kind of repetitive, but his story is actually truly incredible. He dropped out of school at 12 years old. He started he started drinking at 12 years old, working in a tire shop.
Yeah.
He Alcoholism really kind of peaked at 16 when he was just going through a bottle of rum a day and just doing dead end jobs, yeah, till the age of 21. At the age of 21, walks into the gym. He's like, I want to try and make something out of my life. I want to improve my life. And lo and behold, he becomes one of the best fighters in that gym, completely dominates over the next few years, makes a huge kind of run in kickboxing. 2014, he knocks out Dustin Jacoby. A few years later, he beats Israel Adesanya twice. A few years after that, he becomes the champion in the middleweight division, and then he becomes the light heavyweight division. Tim, this has happened from 2014 to 2024. So from him knocking out Dustin Jacoby to him being a light heavyweight champion, it's only been 10 years, man. Unbelievable.
Honestly, it's just been an absolutely incredible run. And most people had to work their entire MMA career just to even get a shot at the double champ status. Randy Couture was kind of an interesting one. He was the first one, but he was kind of jumping up and down when there wasn't a ton going on. And we almost have to say like Alex Pereira is one of the first to do it in the modern era of the UFC. I mean, like Frank Shamrock would have been a double champion if they had those divisions, but also there was nobody in there at the time. And Randy
Yeah.
kind of gets the same nod of like, yeah, he beat like Vitor Belfort to get it. Anyway, Dan Henderson, technically double champ, but then there's a big jump. BJ Penn, Conor McGregor, George St. Pierre, Daniel Cormier, Amanda Nunes, Henry Cejudo, and Alex Pereira. Oh, and John Jones, of course. Like that's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
That is.
Absolutely, what a list of fighters to be with, right?
Absolutely, man. And he's done it in under 13 fights, Tim. And that's one thing I don't think that would ever be matched as a record in the UFC. Again, I don't want to make this completely the Alex Pereira pod, but let's be honest, man. UFC 300 is just the Alex Pereira main event show, man. It really, it really is. As much as we're like, oh man, it's a great fight between him and Jamahal Hill,
Yeah.
it is really the Alex Pereira show, man. I'll end it with this, yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of Alex Pereira, I feel like his achievement is going to be harder to match than any other kind of achievement within the UFC. So you'll probably get someone who might beat Charles Oliveira's kind of record. You might get someone who beat John Jones' record of being the youngest champion. You might get these people beating these records, but I just don't see anyone being a double champion in under 12 fights in the UFC. It's never going to happen again.
No, unprecedented and just an incredible achievement. And he's massive. Like the crazy thing is that he was cutting to middleweight and I remember a while ago, Badr Hari, the heavyweight, had met him. And he was like, "So what weight class is he? Light heavyweight or heavyweight?" And they're like, "Middleweight." Badr was like, "Him? He's like the same size as me." But apparently, he's just like an athletic. Like someone had told me that the day before weigh-ins, he was still going to Brazilian barbecues and could still make 185 the next day. Like the guy can just
What?
shave weight off, no problem. And now he's going up to light heavyweight, and he's still one of the bigger guys in the division. Like this guy's like I know this isn't the Alex Pereira show, and we'll pivot in a second, but
Yes,
he's
yeah.
kind of amazing, right?
He is, man. He is. And people will say, oh, man, he's a weight bully, this and that. Let's be honest, Tim, yeah? This weight is designed, yeah, for the biggest guy to win in the champion, in the division, because it's always the biggest guy, but it's also the most skilled guy,
Yep.
in my opinion. So, classic example is Max Holloway. He's cut a lot of weight to featherweight. Conor McGregor, when he was a champion at featherweight, he was a huge featherweight.
Yeah.
John Jones, huge light heavyweight. It's usually the bigger guy, man. And I think that's something to be credited, man, to be able to cut that much weight, no?
Yeah, oh, honestly, people who claim weight bullies or whatever like that are just kind of not, the guy cut weight. Like this is part of the rules. Like change the rules if you don't want these weird things to happen. But no, that's just the name of the game. If you can be bigger than
Yeah.
the other person, it gives you a massive advantage. And like I'm a small guy, so I wanted to believe for a long time that martial arts gives you an advantage. But no, 10 kilograms, that person beats me, even if they don't have training. Like there's no question about it. The bigger man always wins. The bigger person always wins. And good for him for being able to cut weight and really not suffer even a little bit, and just and a great skill set. But we also have to admit he did get a few benefits from the two weight classes he competed in, right? You know what I mean?
He definitely had a chosen path. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he wasn't facing Derek Brunson or a Marvin Vittori on the way to the title. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if that happened.
Yeah.
That's a different story. Like you got Bruno Silva and Andreas Michodilis or whatever his name is out wrestling you in the first two bouts of the UFC. What do you think would have happened, man, if they gave him Derek Brunson instead of Sean Sean Strickland?
Yeah.
You know?
No, and that's the thing. And like he's a double champ at middleweight and light heavyweight, kind of avoided wrestlers. Not his fault. It's just kind of the divisions. Like you said, Derek Brunson is the only one really there, and he's not even there anymore. But like if you did this at featherweight and lightweight, like Alexander Volkanovski was looking to do, immediate GOAT status. He did it at middleweight and light heavyweight. So we're all like, yeah, that's really good. Good job.
Yeah. It's arguably harder, man. But look, go about Jamahal Hill because if he's ever watching this, he'd be like, fuck you guys.
He actually responds to people on Twitter as well. Like he is an active guy in the community.
Oh, bro, he's liked our comments loads of times. Do you know that?
Oh, has he really?
Yeah. So, but this is before he was the champion. But every time we'd comment, he would like our stuff. He'll react to it. Like, so yeah, Jamal was active, man. He's super active in the comments. But look, let's not forget. Yeah, there's obviously another guy in this main event.
Yep.
Charles
Charles Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira. I was gonna say Jamahal Hill, raised in the crime ridden area of Michigan. He's gone into multiple fights. Yeah, in his early career, or not even an early career, his early fighting career. He'd fight like 1 versus 12, 1 versus 6. Does not matter, man. This guy used to fight. Did you not hear about this story?
No, what's the story?
I've been fighting my entire life. Like I'm talking like 1-on-1s, 1-on-4s, 1-on-8, 1-on-12.
1-on-12? What are you fighting in Russia? Jesus Christ.
I fought 12 people by myself before. Like just situations, shit happens.
So he used to fight when he was fighting in gangs. Yeah, he'd get into these crazy wars. And there was one story where he was fighting 12 people at once. So he'd fight all 12 of them, and he pretty much put all of them to sleep, man. Like he killed nearly all of them. So this guy was built for fucking war, man. Like just like Alex Pereira, man. This guy was built for war. He's an athletic freak. He's played basketball for a number of years as well. So he was able to kind of transition into MMA really well. But yeah, I mean, this guy's just a general freak, natural talent. He actually got into fighting because he was influenced by Anderson Silva. And after that, he went on a murdering spree despite the Paul Craig loss. Mm-hmm. He's looked nothing short of flawless, won the light heavyweight title. He also became the first series contestant to win the UFC World Heavyweight title as well. But other than that, um, his story is still to be written, man. Just to be kind, I think there's so much more to say about Jamahal Hill when all is said and done in the next few years. But he's not really. I mean, other than Glover Teixeira, he's not really for anyone elite. If I'm being really honest.
I was gonna say, I think his wins have aged very, very well. I think Thiago
Oh,
Santos,
Johnny Walker. Sorry, yeah,
Johnny Walker, Jimmy Crude's not bad.
yeah,
OSP questionable. Darko Stosic is now the top contender in KSW, and I really like Darko, but I could see if people want to put that one down a little bit. But look, he beat Glover over 5 rounds, beat Thiago, beat Johnny Walker, and he, just like you said, the way in which he did it is very impressive because that's a list of very tough people, and for him to do it in that style, those are all really impressive, great victories. Like, the guy is tough as nails. He walks people down. He's absolutely massive for the division as well, and he's an extremely impressive athlete to rise to that level and beat people who are that significant in that impressive way that he has. But yeah, he's just uh, he's one of the people who I think has been a continuous underdog for his entire UFC career, right? Like, even
yeah.
from the contender series to the light heavyweight division to the title shot, I think he's counted out. I think that's his real story, is that he's counted out every time people talk about him. You think that's fair?
Oh yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Like what he was counted out in his debut.
Yeah.
He fought. Yeah, he was just fighting killers against Oven St. Preux. He was definitely an underdog in that, and he absolutely dominated him throughout the
Yep.
whole fight, man. Absolutely destroyed him. And then after the Thiago Santos fight, people were like, maybe he's not that guy because he struggled a little bit. But when you look back here and you watch the fight, firstly, Thiago Santos is an absolute animal.
Yep.
He's one of the, you could arguably say that he beat John Jones. I don't think he did, but you could arguably say that.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
do you know what I mean? Like he put a beating on Jamahal Hill, or they put a beating on each other. Jamal adjusted. Unlike John Jones, he actually adjusted. And then he started putting a beating on Thiago Santos, man, and kind of closed the show in that sense. But yeah, I think Jamal is criminally underrated, man. Simply put, like he's being talked on like he's some kind of scrub, man, going into this, and I think it's ridiculous, man. I think it's very insulting.
Oh yeah, I co-sign with that. And not only that, he is you can't stop this man's willpower. Like, Paul Craig is the one man to beat him, and he had to dislocate his shoulder while elbowing him in the head, while choking him, and he still didn't tap. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, he's almost like basically flopping around. He's almost like flopping around like this, yeah, like just and even still, he didn't want to tap, man. He was just refusing to tap. He was
Yeah.
like, I just need one arm.
That's the thing. His willpower just cannot be stopped no matter what position he's in, no matter what you hit him with, no matter what submission you're slapping on him. He is a no-quit man. And having 6 children, like you said, like you were talking about, just this willpower from when he was a young man fighting in the streets, like, you just cannot stop him. But let's get to the pick after all that. Who's the
Yes.
actual pick?
Yeah. You know something that Jamal said that was for me, it was very worrying and is very concerning. And I felt like it was a very ego-driven kind of thing. I don't know if he's playing mind games, but he did say, I'm gonna knock Alex Pereira out on the feet.
And whenever I do fight him, standing, I will knock him out. And when I do, I'm going to rub it in every single one of y'all face. I won't rub it in Alex's face because Alex is a Confederate. But every single one of y'all that has talked, disrespected.
He said that. Yeah. So when you say stuff like that, and if you're gonna stick to that, it's not a good man. It's not a good call, man. But however, if he does mix it up, I do believe he's the better wrestler. He's shown that he's a very good wrestler. He's got good grappling as well. He's improved his grappling after the Paul Craig fight as well. I'm sure his jiu-jitsu is off the chain now. If he mixes up, I actually got the underdog winning, man. I got Jamahal Hill winning this.
Absolutely. It's a completely winnable fight for Jamahal Hill. He
Yeah.
needs to wrestle. He needs to mix in a lot of clinching. He needs to mix in a lot of takedowns. Even if you don't do much with it, to be able to threaten with the takedown is key. I think he needs to set that standard early, and then you can start doing feinting takedowns into punches and stuff like that. It is going to be hard to do over 5 rounds. Just the amount of power that Alex Pereira has, like with his calf kicks and his
Yes.
punches. he has surprised people like Yuri Prohashka and Jan Blachowicz. And like to surprise those two guys with how hard you hit says a lot about how much power you're packing in here. So I think Jamahal Hill has to wrestle for it to win, but I think I'm just going to pick Alex Pereira. I'm not going to turn on my guy here. I got him all day, right? What's your final official pick here?
You're a kickboxing guy. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jamahal Hill, man. I got Jamahal Hill by as a very good underdog pick to win this. And as long as he doesn't do the Jan Blachowicz strategy and he starts diving for a double leg from the first second and tiring himself out, I think he's got a shot to win this 100%.
We've seen him survive 5 rounds. He's quite effective over 5 rounds. He's done it multiple times in his career, and that is one of the areas that he might have a really strong advantage. But this is what makes it a good fight. I actually think this is quite a good one. I like UFC 300. I think it's great.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not like the best ever, but let's be honest, UFC 200, what was the event for UFC 200 again? I've got completely forgot.
Okay, so UFC 200 fell apart, right? Like it was supposed to be, was it Connor Joe?
Yeah.
Connor Aldo, and then John Jones Cormier. And like that would be good even today.
Connor Nate Diaz.
Was it Connor Nate? Okay, so then it all fell apart. Like again, that would be good right now. That would have been a good event. But yeah, it all fell apart in the last minute. We got Mark Hunt versus Brock, which is still a weird fight.
Name one alternative. Right before we go, name one alternative fight, that would be better than this fight. Like infinitely better than this fight if you could just make it.
Daniel Cormier versus Anderson Silva. No, okay, wait. Let me think of something. Let me think of one here. Yeah. No, I see.
There's no limit, by the way. This could be completely intangible. Just not Batman versus Superman. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But like, UFC fire versus UFC fire currently, but it can be fairly intangible. I've already got something in mind, but it's just so ridiculous that it's never gonna happen.
Okay, what do you got? What's your pick?
Conor versus Habib too.
Great, amazing. That's actually such a good pick. That would have made UFC 300 an all-timer, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. But hey, UFC 300 main event is a wrap. We'll probably do a little bit more of a technical breakdown at some point. Maybe not. We'll see. We're gonna keep it easy here. But that's pretty much it, man. Guys, stay tuned. Also, one thing before you guys go. You're pausing, yeah? Good. Now, 85% of our watch hours is watched by non-subscribers. We've got to change that, guys. So make sure you subscribe. I know a bunch of you here are completely new, just watched us for the first time. We're pretty damn good, man. So subscribe to us, keep watching our stuff, and stay tuned, man.